For example, young sectors, young set of students or innovators will come up with some good idea. To develop the prototype, like I said, they will be dependent again on some external factor. Most of the time that external factor will be a government department. The same applies with startups also. So what happens is they will time and again approach the government sector to buy their product or their prototype or develop the prototype for them or take help from the government sector in developing the prototype and take sponsorship or funding and then keep on pushing with the government sector to buy back that product again. Like they'll say you must encourage innovators, you must encourage innovators. So this is one aspect I have observed. But real innovation, like I'll give you an example. Real innovation, if it is good in itself, it doesn't need an external push. In fact, a sustainable innovation. So whatever innovation long run lo useful aitadi, long run lo sustain aitadi. So I'm not against innovations which span across 10 years, 5 years, 6 years. But what I'm trying to say is there should be value addition in that innovation. And that should be useful to the society. And that should not be only dependent on the government sector for funding or for push or for developing a prototype. I'm trying to make a point here because one example is maybe like, let us say, sensor-based solar lights. So we are time and again pushed by those innovators to buy their product. What I'm trying to say here is if the product is good, if it really makes a difference, the innovators need not push. Government will place an order. And most importantly, like how government functions. If it is good, whether it is good or not, first thing we'll go by, for any procurement, we'll go by SSR rates. So we'll look at SSR rates, we'll place an order or we'll place a tender or quote or whatever. And definitely the turnover, the market presence, the market presence of the product should be strong. But in this case, what happens? We cannot run a charity model infinitely. If the solar lights, if the sensor-based lights are really good, definitely, and you have vendors across the private sector or anywhere else, definitely the government will come forward to purchase. But it happens other way around in Telangana. Why I am saying this is here what happens. People struggle a lot, groups struggle a lot to secure a government contract, and showing the government contract they take 3 or 4 other private contracts. That should not be the case. That is the reason why that particular innovator group is unable to come up with further innovations. That is one thing. And రెండోది, those innovations become unsustainable in the long term. So this is the 3 scenarios wherein we have to introspect ourselves and look at what we are doing, whether we are doing it right or how we can improve further. In many government associations with startups or with innovators, again, like the resistance to change, the resistance to rewire the requirement analysis is something which I have observed. So innovators may have a great idea. They may think that this is a good idea, we should implement it, we should document it. But when they come to user, so government or private or something, they should be totally flexible to have a 360-degree turn and include or incorporate the requirement of the user into the product. So sometimes many government sectors, what happened, especially when we come to tech-enabled solutions, especially AI, especially computing, especially the software sector. What happens, earlier government had very less expertise. But these days, over the past 1.5 decades, if you see, we also work with a lot of consultants. We also work with a lot of young graduates, postgraduates, tech-based teams and individuals. And that's where the glaring gap between innovators' potential and the user's requirement is evident. So in these cases, because earlier, like tech people were something which was like, okay, there's a niche segment. These days, government is also well equipped. So what happens, many contracts are pushed through the government, many projects or many agreements are pushed through the government with innovators, with startups, but in the long run, they don't solve the problems of the government or any other user for that matter, because requirement analysis is not done properly, and the idea of a requirement in the innovator's head is very different from the idea of the actual requirement on the ground. And time and again, the requirement also should be having a scope for being tweaked. That also doesn't happen. So these are some of the grey areas wherein I would request the innovators to come up with good solution, and also to keep an open mind, to keep on changing the requirement when the user changes. So evolve the prototype as and when needed. And Moododi, most important, not to be explicitly dependent on any vendor or any user to to encourage the innovator or to push for a charity model in adopting that innovation. So I have to use that word charity model, because many innovators, because they are young, and we also feel like let's give them a chance. But that chance can only work for a year or two. If you have to sustain yourself in the innovation scenario in the startup marketplace, then you need to evolve. You need to struggle. Struggle is definitely an inevitable component. You cannot let it go. You cannot be dependent overtly on anybody else to keep on supporting you. So that's one thing. As a statutory warning, I thought there are so many young innovators out there. I must make it loud and clear. And you should not be discouraged if you don't find that chance. We work with, in government, we work with so many groups, maybe self-help groups or women. So what psychology we observe is, once a group may not have anything to, no skill, no potential. Once you give them the skill, you give them the training, let us say tailoring training, let us say beautician course, let us say something else, maybe DTP or something. So that particular time, again government has a very different model. We pay them honorarium for attending that training. After that, what happens? The next demand they have is, now you give us placement. Now, why did you give us training if you don't want to give us placement? Either they ask for placement or they ask for market or order, buyback basically. So those may be semi-skilled, other entrepreneurs, but you are innovators. You should be definitely doing something different from them, is what I want to say. And last example, not take much time. We say that multi-pin adapters, right? Everybody has it. Everykaina oka 4-wheeler unte, 2-wheeler unte, intilo unte, everybody has that multi-pin adapter cables. Everybody has. And it's, I think, below 100 or 150. And nobody knows the brand of that multi-pin cable. So, are you able to the Innovation Panchayat team for inviting me, and thankfully I could spare some time today. So మీ అందరితో కలవడానికి ఈరోజు I got an opportunity. So ముఖ్యంగా ఇంతకు ముందు చెప్పినట్టు almost 70 pitches మీరు అన్నారు. So I think 7 districts అన్నారు కదా? Yes. Yeah. So it's a great thing actually that we have so many young faces, young innovators from across the state, especially in 7 districts today participating in Karimnagar is a very big thing. And in this journey, like I know innovation is a very, very, what do we say, isolating journey. Like you have to be alone and think through a lot of ideas and struggle to develop a prototype, then you have to pitch it, then you have to have ample opportunity to, to express it, to implement it, and then what happens during the course of implementation, you can find the plus and minus of whatever you have done. అని అనిపిస్తుంది. అది ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేసేటప్పుడు అక్కడ ఇబ్బంది అనిపిస్తుంది. తర్వాత ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేసే క్రమంలో డిఫరెంట్ ఛాలెంజింగ్ సినారియోస్లో మనం దానికి రోల్ అవుట్ చేస్తూ ఉంటే దాంట్లో లూప్ హోల్స్ ఏముంది అనేది మనకి తెలుస్తుంది. మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద టైమ్స్ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్ ఇస్ వి నెవర్ గెట్ దట్ ఆపర్చునిటీ టు టెస్ట్ ద ఐడియల్. we always test our innovation or idea in a ideal scenario, like in our head or just across our friendly associations. దాన్ని దాటి ఒక ఛాలెంజింగ్ అట్మాస్ఫియర్లో దాన్ని పెట్టి డిఫరెంట్ టెస్ట్ కేస్ సినారియోస్ చాలా తక్కువ మందికి దొరుకుతుంది. సో ఐ హ్యావ్ బీన్ అసోసియేటెడ్ విత్ దిస్ TSIC team for quite some time now. They have been doing incredible job, especially in terms of classroom innovation and encouraging young innovators to come forward to think through the process of ideation and all. I would like to congratulate them for handholding so many innovators, especially in the young spectrum. At the same time, కొన్ని pertinent observations I have been having. 2020 నుంచి అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తూనే ఉన్నాను. 2 or 3 things which I would like to, ప్లస్ మాట్లాడనే ముందు we should always look and self introspect and critically analyze ourselves కాబట్టి కొన్ని నేను చెప్పాలనుకుంటున్నా. So one thing which I find is most of the innovators when they pitched their idea in 2020, so I have been watching them and their evolution since 2020 to today is 2026. So what I observed is they had some idea which sounded absolutely great in 2020. They have been improving upon that idea and today we have arrived at 2026. There is hardly any improvement. The improvement is very marginal. And they are stuck with that but one particular idea. That is one scenario. Rendo scenario ఏంటంటే, like many innovators, I will not take their name, many innovators we have who just have the idea. They don't even have the potential to put it into a prototype. So they are dependent on some external third party to develop that prototype. So they may have tie up with some small startups or some enterprise and they want to pitch their idea. That is one scenario. So that is one scenario. And from 2020 to 2026 onwards, with the same idea they have been trying for or applying for different recognitions across different platforms. With the same idea. I have a couple of innovators' name in my mind. I will not take their name. It will not be fair. But innovator is a person who is not an inventor. Let me tell you. So inventor may be a full and final thing, and you got something very something, and you can take years and years together. But innovator is a person who should keep innovating, who should not be stuck to some idea because it sounds very great when you begin with. So those 2 things I have seen. Particularly I am talking about 2 innovators. So till today, they were recognized by TSIC first time for that innovation. Recently also they were awarded for the same innovation. So apart from that, okay, that may be their best innovation, but apart from that, what new ideas have they come up with? And third important thing, not just innovators, many startups also. What happened?
Expectations, right from what matters when you're building an idea and who does it matter and why does it matter. But ma'am, in very short sentence, the whole concept of Innovation Panchayat came into existence because we wanted to bridge the gap between people who are looking for assistance and people who can offer that assistance. We wanted to bring a more no-session, no-nonsense kind of a program where innovators can directly sit across the table and talk and get their problems sorted. And that is the whole idea. Karimnagar is our 3rd destination, and we have received tremendous response. Just within 3 weeks, we got hundreds of queries, and we look forward to keep coming back and building the local ecosystem. The idea here is to build the local ecosystem, decentralize the support ecosystem. We do not want the innovators in any part of the state, in any part of Telangana, to actually travel the distance just for basic amenities or basic support. And the idea here is to create that local ecosystem here itself so that it becomes self-sustaining, and only when things start taking shape is when you can definitely get in touch. And I'm not saying you're not welcome there. Definitely welcome. That is yours as much as it's anybody else's. But we are talking about the basic support services, basic support system. So we would like to activate all the places, all the tier 2, tier 3 locations in the state with your help, ma'am. And this was a very humble beginning, and we look forward to keep coming back and doing more. And it's in the hands of the innovators actually. The innovators today, you guys are sitting across the table talking to your mentors. Next time, let's say in 6 to 9 months, we would really want to see your products in the market taking shape, and maybe you qualify to mentor newbies and helping them validate their ideas. So that is exactly how we want to build. I'm not sure if circular economy is the right word for this one, but I would still use it because we want you to power the ecosystem, and it cannot happen, it cannot come from outside. So thank you so much, ma'am, for taking time out and motivating all of us. Thank you so much to all the innovators, all the mentors, my heartfelt gratitude, and of course my beloved team for making it happen. Thank you.
So all of you, if you look at the Innovation Panchayat logo, you will see a big tree, big banyan tree. And just like a tree has a lot of branches, our state has a lot of branches in terms of different districts. Now if I ask you, can a tree survive without all the branches, right? Can you tell me if the districts in terms of innovation are equally important, and that is why we thought of bringing the Innovation Panchayat concept to all the districts, and that is how we stand in Karimnagar today. So, to all of you for coming all the way to this Innovation Panchayat event, making this such a grand gathering. People have come from 7 districts, ma'am. We have also 7 mentors who have traveled from different parts of the state, and they have guided the mentors on different subjects of innovation like idea validation, prototyping, marketing, technical testing, funding, and go-to-market strategies. So thank you to all the mentors as well. Also, I am very pleased to see the support received from the local administration here, the IT Tower Administration Office, the Task Office, and all the people sitting out here. We also have a lot of volunteers who have helped. So